Hi everyone, my name is Ierie and this is Reminisce with This, where I take a little time out of my day to sit and reminisce with you on all of the simpler times from all of the different hobbies, collections, and interests that I have obtained over the years. Though it's not always about the physical form of my collections that hold something dear to me. The memories that I have also collected along the ways have been some of the most important things and why I continue the hobbies that I do, and why the interests are so important to me because of those memories that are tied into them. Today is, of course, Mystery Moment Monday, but I do want to touch on why I did not post for Silver Lining Sunday yesterday. So quickly, two things. One, there was a power outage from roughly about 4:30 p.m. till 8:50 p.m. And unfortunately, with not being able to charge my phone before I went into work, I did not want to risk killing my battery and not having a phone for when I needed it. But secondly, I've decided that the last Sunday of the month, I am actually going to take a step back and just do a kind of meditation day and self-care kind of a day as my week starts to get ready for the following. So I kind of decided that's what's going to be going on. So the last Sunday of Silver Lining Sundays every month will be the day that I take a little bit of a break. But for Mystery Moment Monday, of course, today is going to be an unboxing. Like I stated in the last video though, there was the poll that I did on my Instagram, and there was 3 choices of that were the highest. There was 5 in total, and today we are going to open the 3rd highest choice, and I'm excited to get into it. Now, I've already opened a few Labubus. That was the 2nd highest last week. The week prior was the one I only had 1 of, but this week it is actually going to be the ones that I have 2 of here. So it gives me a little bit more of an option to play around with which one I'm going to open. So I will remove the rest of these off the table here. And I'm just gonna do a quick little switcheroony here all around. And I don't know which one is gonna be which, but I'm gonna go with the left hand today. And we'll see what we get today. I'm super excited. I've been loving these unboxings and just been so excited for each one, as I'm not necessarily sure how they're going to play out, how well they are made. These are things that I have had in my Amazon wish list kind of a thing, and a friend was very kind and got me quite a few of them, like I stated previously. So of course these all kind of have semblances of my favorite genre, which is magical girls. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the different possibilities of the collection we could get, and then I will go ahead and let you know which one I would hope for. Of course, I would say, like, when it comes down to it, I really like this one here, this one there, and of course, the secret. Now, if I were to get the secret, that would be awesome. That would be super stellar. But by no means do I think that I'm going to. I do feel that I would end up with probably the one. I'm gonna guess that I would like those 3. Those are my top 3. But I'm going to guess that I'm going to get this one here. That's my guess. So we're gonna go ahead and crack and open into it and see which one we get. Now, I know from the first one that we did, they are in a like plastic container. So they are not going to be hidden. So I'm just gonna open it from the side and we're both gonna look together at the same time. All right, and the one I got is, let's see. Can't necessarily tell. Oh, no kidding. I actually got the one I wanted. How awesome is that? Oh, this is awesome. Now, of course, like the last one, this is going to be one that you put together. Now, out of respect for the doll itself and just the overall channel, I'm not going to show the doll itself until it's dressed, as I don't necessarily feel the need to show the doll without its clothes off, I should say. I think that that's kind of just not the presence that I want to show on here. So we're gonna go ahead and get these open. It does look like, though, that's awesome, that this one does come with an instruction manual. Compared to the last one, as we know, there was not an instruction manual. It does look like there are little ways to actually tighten the joints with a it looks like it comes with possibly a little hook of some sort to be able to do so. So that's awesome. I love that this one did come with instructions, because I am an instruction kind of a person. I like to have step by step, just simply for the fact that I definitely tend to be challenged on it. So let me go ahead and get this all set up, and then we can go ahead and get into it. But overall, I've been really having a lot of fun with this whole journey. You know, this has been such a stellar time for me. You know, it's kind of funny here. Now that I'm looking at it, it is showing on here that it's showing that I got a different one than what I actually got on the directions. Isn't that? It's showing that I got the first one that I wanted. So I wonder if that is something that happens frequently or what necessarily. But this might be a little bit interesting, trying to figure out how to get this all assembled here. So I'm assuming I'll figure it out, though. But like I was saying, I've been really enjoying this time sitting here and just reflecting on all of the different memories that I have shared over the years with so many wonderful people, and trying to just like really have a different perspective on a lot. As you know, I wasn't always a super positive person. I will, you know, be the first one to admit that. And there are times that I sometimes have a problem. I wouldn't say necessarily a problem. Let me rephrase that. I have troubles staying in a positive mindset. It's so easy when things get tough that I can definitely, you know, have a struggle with trying to find the positive things. But when I really take a step back and I get into a placement where I have a lot of wonderful people around me, it makes it a little easier to have a positive perspective, because there are just so many wonderful people in my life that really help remind me today, like, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and you know, kind of help reframe my brain. And you know, that's something that I feel like everybody needs, you know. And it's such a beautiful thing to have so many wonderful people. And as I get into this, journey of remembering so much, especially like I said, it's so easy to get so enveloped in a way of life that you forget to look at the positives. And even it's some like a minuscule positive thing, we tend to kind of forget about that. And it's something that I am definitely happy to start this journey, because it's been helping me a lot with the past memories that I may have neglected. And there's just so many circumstances with so many different people that I'm trying to see them in a better light than maybe I did prior. It's crazy how life does work out. And I'm also, trying to do some healing and do some forgiveness of myself. This journey, I haven't always been perfect. And I'm not perfect by any means today. And I don't claim to be. And, it's one of those things that I feel, as we get older, we can get really hard on ourselves, especially with just the overall environments we're in. There's a lot of, I feel, judgment these days. If you're not a certain which way, and if you don't align with people's ideologies, or you have a different opinion, and or you have boundaries set in place and things like that, you could be in a healthy mindset of what my therapist used to say is healthy selfish. You could definitely be talking about something of how you need to follow these boundaries and things that hold yourself accountable for your integrity, and people will get offended by that. And it's sad to see that people don't necessarily always understand the healthy selfish aspect. We're so ingrained in the word as selfish being such a negative connotation to something, that when we hear it put into a healthy manner, our brains are wired to instinctively be like, oh no, that's not healthy at all, like that's not good, that's a bad thing, like you shouldn't be doing that. But when it comes to putting yourself above your mental health or your well-being, above others in a way opinion, then you can kind of be seen as a person that is kind of I don't want to say difficult or anything like that, but people tend to have a hard time with that. And that's something that when I'm experiencing these different types of hardships in my everyday, or just in life in general, and I'm trying to navigate through them, sometimes I can understand where people can be frustrated, because not everybody has an understanding these days of what healthy selfish is. I feel like with the rise of mental health awareness over the last few years, it's been so pertinent for people to really take care of themselves. But of course, there, like I said, there's that negative thought on being taking care of yourself. And when you take care of yourself, it's it's already tough as it is, because you're trying to navigate through the experience that you're going through, and all of the different avenues that are coming up at that point, the challenges and how you're going to work through them. I used to be the type of person to be reactive, right off the bat. I wouldn't really give myself a time to really just take a moment and think about what is going on. It would just be, let me go ahead and, you know, act now and think later. And now I'm having to really take a moment to think about what is going on in this moment. Why am I feeling this way? What is bringing me to this circumstance? What can I do to better the circumstance? Is this something that is in my control, or is it something out of my control that I am needing to, you know, have some kind of help with, or, you know, just do what I can to not allow it to burden me so much that it becomes something that controls my everyday. Because when we tend to do that, it really does, you know, give us, at least myself, a different perspective when I give it a moment to really think about it, and, you know, and or just overall, just if it's something that I've learned in recovery, when it's out of your hands and it's out of your control and there's nothing you can do, all you can really do is just, you know, give it to whatever belief system you have and go about your day, you know. Sometimes it's easier said than not. I know that from my own experience. Sometimes things are so much in the moment that it's hard to necessarily just, you know, let it be or let it go or whatever may, you know, whatever. But I have come to, you know, the realization, the more things are meant for me, the more they're likely to work out. If they're not, then of course they're going to be super difficult. And, you know, in that moment in time, whatever that circumstance may be, you know, I'll be okay. And that's something that I've learned today, is it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to know that certain things that are out of your control, that they're not something you need to worry too much about. Of course, again, it's easier said than done when, you know, life is lifing. But, you know, when we can give ourselves a moment of patience, kindness, and grace, it does make it easier to, you know, have a different perspective on it that we might not have seen prior, simply because we are, you know, in a different mindset from past selves, at least for myself, right? A lot of reframing goes into these times where I'm having to really, really, you know, change the narrative in my mind, because, you know, I'm sure a lot of people can understand this, that we're our own worst critic, you know, as it is. So when we're constantly hard on ourselves and we're constantly beating ourselves up and, you know, all of that, the last thing we need is to worry about things that we can't even control. And, you know, it like I said, it's easier said than done, right? It's completely easier said than done. But at the same time, if you work on it, you know, this is something that I'm very grateful that the people that I've met along this journey since, you know, getting into this recovery, new start of my life, you know, I got an amazing therapist, and, you know, it was a lot of reframing and a lot of like talking positively about myself when I didn't think that that was a possibility. And then, you know, having a different perspective on just who I was, and as time went on, and having people, like I said, that were in my life or in my life today that really, really made a point to help me with the reframing. Because, you know, I would be in a hangout session with one of my best friends, and next thing you know, she's over here being like, no, we're not going to talk like that about ourselves. How can we reframe this? that is going to make you feel better currently. And sometimes it was hard for me, you know, it's a process, and but it's definitely one that I recommend if you can take a couple minutes out of your day to just really, like, easier said than done. This is one of the things that was hard for me in the beginning, but you know, start with, you know, the 10 positive affirmations in front of a mirror. And if you can't find 10 positive things to talk about yourself, then start with one. And every day, see if you can add another one. And, you know, at one point, you will get to the 10. And I didn't think it was a possibility. I didn't think that I would be able to get to the 10, but I just so happened to. And now I kind of have this self-confidence where I'm very grateful that I've had so many amazing people in my life that really have made this impact, and that I'm able to reflect a little bit more and hold myself accountable for actions of my own. And you know, it's something that I may not fully want to always do. I'm kind of a stubborn person, but I still I try. I think I might have lost a piece here, which I sure did. Okay, so I got a couple pieces left. I don't necessarily know. It looks like she has, honestly, so about the figure itself, now that we're almost finished here, it looks like the figure itself has quite a lot of these little hands here. I'm not going to open them all, but it looks like there's quite a different single-handed, and then there's a couple extra feet, and then a couple clasped hands, and a couple other hands here for this. Now, I've got to figure out how to do this per se. This is going to be the interesting part, because like I said, this instruction manual was not for this figure, so, you know, that's gonna be a little fun, but I'll figure it out. Oh, they are magnets. Okay, cool deal. That's awesome. So I'm assuming it goes like that, and then like this. Cool beans. All right, so basically, that was the gist of it. You know, things can definitely be super hard. They may definitely come out of left field at times, and it's easy to get so wrapped up in everything that life has going on that we can kind of lose the plot and where we're at in life, because again, you know, the severity of things really can make us lose focus on the positive. So just taking a couple minutes out of your day just to find a little bit of a positive perspective in something that may not have one. You know, everything doesn't always need to be positive, and it's, like I said, it's okay not to be okay. But when you do look at a brighter side of things, it makes things a little bit easier. At least I've come to realize. So with that being said, though, so here is the figure all together. I was having a little trouble with the ribbon here. I kind of wish that they had some kind of, it was like an easier kind of ribbon, as I was struggling, and then the extra pieces, they're all in the back, so I just stuck them into these shoes here. But for the most part, I think she looks really awesome. Like I said, this figure definitely gives a magical girl vibe here. That's kind of why I liked a lot of these, for that simple fact, because it definitely gives that, you know, genre of magical girls that I have been into, which is that darker themed. So it kind of gives off that cutesy vibe, but, you know, has a darker tone to it. So I definitely really like it. I love that this has a little bit of a chain here. There was, 3 different pieces, I should say, with the ribbon, and as you can see, it kind of has a, I forget what this is called right here, but it's basically a lace banding that holds the ribbon together. Then you have the kimono with the leg slit here, and then this is going to be the overlay piece that goes over, and that has like a giant bow on the back here. So, and then of course she has her little curl piece here, and then these are magnets here. So that's pretty awesome. And of course she comes with these shoes. Like I said, she comes with an extra pair of feet. There are these little tools here. Apparently you can adjust and move her eyes. Now, I don't want to risk that all too much because I have a feeling that I would do it incorrectly, but let me go ahead and just pop this off real quick. This is where, though, you can pull the, if I'm not mistaken, it shows that you can pull this up and readjust the doll's joints. From that, you can tighten it up. It does look like you have the eye platelets here, so you can adjust the eyes. They'll hold into this here. I'm not trying to move this all too much around, but as you can see, the eyes are in there, so you could adjust the eyes to different positioning. Now, I already like how the eyes are positioned, so I will go ahead and keep that just the way I like it, honestly. Again, I'm not trying to mess with the eyes too much because I feel like I will do something incorrectly, but I do like how this came out. I do like the aesthetic overall. I think for the, I think it was roughly in between $25 to $30, that they're pretty good quality. I do have little stands for them, like I have, like I did for the last one that I opened. So this will be going on a stand, and I'll be able to pose it. This one does stand quite a bit better than that first one right out of the box, which is awesome. And I'm not sure what the tool is that I'll be able to use to twist the joints a little tighter if need be, but it looks like you take that inside the S and then you twist it around. So that's from what I've gathered. This instruction manual, of course, is for a different doll. So, I don't want to risk it too much and jeopardize moving something or doing something that is not for this doll specifically. But overall, I think that for what it is and getting the one I wanted, it came out pretty awesome. I definitely enjoyed it, and I hope you were able to get something from what I was saying and didn't just feel like a bunch of ramblings. But I really do enjoy this figure. I enjoy spending my time here and just really getting to be in a moment of clarity and really have a different perspective. Like I said, I wasn't always a super positive person, but I'm happy to, be working at it, and I'm constantly working at it. It's something that I have to remind myself even on my worst days. It's still okay not to be okay, as long as I don't dwell in it and focus on all of the negatives. If I can take a moment just to take a step out of my own shoes and look at the positives, I think that life can be a little bit easier. And I hope that helps you today, as it helped me a lot with my therapist and just the overall program that I've worked. And with that, though, I will go ahead and close this one out. But of course, before I head out, I want to say, if no one's told you you are loved, cared about, or cherished today, just know that I love you, I cherish, and I care about you. Until the next time, I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.